for you? What does home feel like? Can you can it be sensed right here, right now, in being in this space with the eight of us, with you? Can your parts sense a flavor of home? And if not, what is it that your parts need to find home? What is it that your parts need? What is it that you need to find home? Is it more love? Is it more love? Is it more a sense of peace? Is it more connectedness? Is it more acceptance? Is it more ease? So really, right now, what do your parts need? What do you need to feel more that home is here now? As you can sense that it does, I need more acceptance, care, connectedness, care, love, understanding. Can you feel that? Can you feel the yearning of your parts for more home here now? And then if you can join me in being intimate with those parts, with that yearning, whatever it is that would give you more sense of being at home, if you can really be intimate with that yearning, and then what's most like that which is here now? What's most like what's being yearned for that's here now? If it's, I need more acceptance, I need more sense of welcoming of me just the way I am. What's most like that welcoming that's here now? See if you can find it. What's this unconditional welcoming? No, no, Sid, it's simpler. I just need more unconditional love. I need to feel the love, the care. I need to feel that care, that love. What's most like that care and that love that's here now? If you can find it right here, right now. This is what we call self in IFS, this beingness, this intrinsic nature that's always here, that doesn't get enhanced or diminished. It's innate, it's just here. It's this background. Or is it, I don't want to feel alone for your parts. Home is not alone. It's a sense, it's a connectedness. It's an intimate connectedness. Do you have parts that are yearning for that? And what's most like connectedness? Perhaps it's even unity. What's most like that which is here now? Can you find it? And then if you find these qualities that are being yearned for, can your parts actually receive it? Can they feel it? And what's that like? Is it a sense of you being held? Is it a sense of something penetrating your boundaries, this love, this connectedness, this care? Can it be received? Can your parts be like, yeah, there it is, that's it. That's a sense of home. I'm finding it. See if you can let your parts receive this, the sense of that home is here now. And maybe some of your parts, some of you are finding this, a sense of home, and others are like, no, 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 never. I need so much acceptance. I need so much care. I need a sense of home is being able to fully relax here in the now, in the love that's here, and just to notice those parts that that aren't at home yet, and the ones that are. And lastly, with this, is it okay that some of our parts are feeling agitation? Some of aspects of us are not completely resting in the peace of being. Is that okay too? And notice the voices, the narrative voices that pop up and say, no, it's not okay. That's why I'm coming here. That's why I'm doing the spiritual work so all of me can be home. And that's just a part, like a spiritual achiever part. And we just notice that and it gets to be welcome too. I was talking with Haneen last night and she asked me, Sid, but will you include some of what's happening for you today as well about the passing of your father 10 days ago and the funeral, or just what's happening inside of you? And we're right there right now. These are my parts. Inside Sid is my parts that are like, it's not okay. How can you say home is here? How can you say peace is here? Something horrible just happened. And in me, there's just so much love for those aspects of me, for those parts of me. It's like, what are they longing for? Just like inside your system, we all have these parts that are not okay with what is. Like home is not here, okayness is not here, beauty is not here right now. I need to be different. I need something different. Like, what is it that they're longing for in me? There's longing just to be held. This is from a place of okayness, from a love that's here, not to be alone, from a connectedness. And I have young parts that are like, that should not have happened. And non-confused parts, "Ah, what's this going to be like without my dad?" And just like what we're playing with here, we call it like almost simultaneous awareness, or we call it the Rumi's guest house. The sense of those parts, these aspects of us that are here, they get just to be welcomed just the way they are and loved just the way they are. And then when we go deeper, which is where we've been going, we listen for what their longing is. Or you don't even need to use parts language. What do you long for? What do you want? What's going to give you happiness, fulfillment, and okayness? Really, any sense of lack here? What is it that's being longed for? From my system, again, with these parts, I want everything to be okay. I want to feel that connectedness. I want to feel that love that I feel from my Father's presence. Who's longing for this presence of love. And then there's like what's most like that, which is here now, helping my parts find their way back home. What's that like inside of you? This might be the whole game for us. It's like what's wanted, what's truly wanted. And then in the IFS language is just the sense we've got this intrinsic beingness, the self that's imperturbable. It's always here, it's overflowing. Can we find the qualities of what's being needed for us right here, right now? And we'll come together in just a moment. And just for some of us, there might be like, Sid, this isn't working for me. All I can hear is a part that's just like, hey, this is silly new age talk. This isn't real. Whatever's there, whatever parts are speaking, can there be enough space here that they are welcomed? And if you can't find a full welcoming of all your parts in your system, can you use us? There are 8 of us here with you. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, just feel Goli system for a minute. Feel the love and peace that's there. Feel the peace of Haneen. Feel the presence of my friend John. Feel the clarity of Dave, the peace in V, the presence in Rowena. You're not alone. Your parts are not alone. You can find what they're longing for here. So in a moment, when we come back together, and some of us, the eyes are closed, others, they're open. Notice, what is it that's looking through your eyes? What is it that's looking through your eyes? Can you find both? Can you find this presence of beingness? And can you also notice the precious parts that are looking through your eyes that are here? Can all of it be here? And as we connect with each other, is there a sense of this beingness in their eyes, in each of our eyes, and also the precious parts? So as we come back together, how are you? How are you? What parts arise? Oh, Sid, that went way too long. Or gosh, that was so good. I want to go deeper into it. Or I'm not sure I can stay because I've got things I need to do today. Just notice, how are you? What's here? And what is everything arising in? What are these voices that you hear? The sensations that you hear, what are they arising in? In this background of beingness, can we include everyone in this? Because I'm sure it's not just Milo today that's having some difficulty, that's having parts that are loud. I have some loud parts here. I'm sure others do too. Can we include them all? Can we be a space of holding for everyone here? And so if, as we are with what's here for us, the parts in the background, and as we are with being the space together, even as if they're not these little lines between our boxes, like the beingness, this ocean of beingness just includes us all. Just quickly, my housekeeping, that as you guys all know, I'm not a counselor, I'm a mediator. And if everybody's good, being responsible for their journeys today, if I could get a thumbs up from you, please. And then secondly, as always, I've got this being recorded but only my image would ever be shared, but your audio could be shared. So if there's ever any discomfort, let me know and I make you a co-host and you click pause when you speak. That's my preference. Or at the end, you're like, gosh, I wish I didn't say that. Just let me know and I'll delete what you said. If I could get a thumbs up, if everybody's good with that. Wow. So how are we? How are we? Who wants to go first? And I just want to extend it to Milo first in case there's anything that's wanting to be said. Anything, Milo, you're wanting to share with the group, and feel free to keep your image off. Anything that would like to be shared before we kind of open this up to see who's bubbling? And let's see, how are we? What was that like for you? What did you find? What is it that you want? And I'm also glad at any point because Haneen's also had loved ones pass, and she had asked that that be included as a theme today. And I'm glad to include that in however it moves through us. From Milo, thanks. I'll just listen today. You are so welcome. And I hope, Milo, you can feel the presence and love of all of us and the sense that you're being included and held in beingness. Who would like to go first? What was that like for you to notice your parts, to notice what is being longed for? You're so welcome, Milo. What was being longed for? What was that like? And again, as always, it could be like, that didn't work for me at all. Sid, I've got a part that's really nervous about something in my life. How are you? What's going on here? Who would like to go first?
I can go first.
Great. Hi, V.
Hi. Hi, Sid. Oh boy. There were a few parts that came up. One was I couldn't make to your session on the day on Monday, and my parts wanted to know how Sid dealt with his father's loss because my young parts find it very hard, even imagining my father. He's 86, right? 85 now, thinking what would happen to my part. So during this meditation, the tears were flowing, curiosity was coming up, and also I felt some presence. The connection was there, even the tears was, the groundedness was there, and curiosity. Um, because my system doesn't do well with loss. Somebody's lost. Um, somebody shared somebody. I didn't even know about them. Their young son died, and my whole system felt some kind of vibration, discomfort, somatically. And I want to show presence, but my parts take over. That's where I am right now,
Beautiful.
and they're
Thank
longing
you.
for
Thank you, V.
connection. Yeah, my parts
Yeah.
are longing for connection.
Just to start with, can we all find this? Can we all find parts that are that can resonate that are similar to these? It's like, God, I'm good with most things. I can welcome most things that happen, but the passing of a loved one, uh-uh. No, that's not okay. Something might just kind of close down when it thinks about that. So notice if you can all find a part or parts that dread that, the passing of someone we love, or someone who we have lost. And I'll tell you about my experience in just a moment. The passing of someone we have lost, parts are like, gosh, that hurts so much. I miss them so much. I'm not okay with this. I want them back. If we can find those parts, see if we can see if each of us can find that voice. We don't want thee to be all alone in this, or thee instead to be alone in this. It's like, see if we all can find this shared humanity. And as you notice that part, as you heard V speak about her part, was there just love for it? Was there just love for that part? Understanding, compassion, and love. And as we find this is when it gets harder, when we find it within our own system, the part that says, no, I don't want this to happen. No, this was a horrible thing. That's a word I keep using, horrible. If we find the compassion and love for those aspects of us, what's it like? What's that love like? Is it being held in like a pool of love? Is it like a warmth? Is it a vibration? What's that love like? What's it like for those? What does those parts experience that say, no, I don't like this? And then just to make it a little more advanced, is it okay for those parts to be here that say no, no to death of a loved one? Is it okay that those parts are here? And this is going to sound weird. And now I'm just going to go to my experience here. I've been crying a lot. My dad was my favorite, my dad's my favorite person. We had the same name. I'm Sid Friedman III. I've been crying a lot. And I just don't want to miss a minute of those tears. It's Tears are my favorite. It's the tears. Like when the tears come, I feel the love that's here. It's just this precious love that I have for my dad. This whole history, 58 years together. So in my system, there's a sense of the parts that V's pointing to. Those are the honorary parts in my system. Those are the ones that are in the spotlight. Those are the ones that are being celebrated, honored, given space, understood, met. What's it like in your system with those parts that say no? Can they be, and often, sometimes there's not capacity in my system for this. In your system, notice that there's space for those parts to be heard and seen. Can they express everything that's there to you? When V was experiencing this person talk about a passing, when those parts arose, could they really be, could you find the place of welcoming where everything, there's just a preciousness to everything they had to say, all of their feelings, all of their sense of no, all of their like, I'm so confused. What from in Sid's system, parts they're like, I don't understand. Life without dad. Can that be included? Can that be welcomed and loved? Just as if a child is coming up to you crying, I'm lost, I'm confused. My dad died. This is when it gets really wild when we go deeper into this game. This is what Gully spoke about this on Monday, and it was just so, I just could listen to her forever speaking about this. She described, and we were talking about what's it like when we really let those parts be here. This is when it gets kind of spiritual, or the what we've been doing in IFS, it pays off. It's like, what's it like when we can really feel those parts, when they're more than welcomed? And then there's an intimacy with the sadness and the tears. Like, how intimate can we be with the sense of loss, the sadness, the tears? And what happens when we're intimate beyond intimate? Even in IFS, like what we say, no, you don't do this. Even when we're like blended, we let them blend. We let these parts have us. We let the sadness have us. Goldie was describing in her system something so beautiful opened. It was like there was love here. It was all love. And then it even goes deeper than that. And this is an edge that I've been exploring in mind. Like, how intimate can I be with this, the tears, the sadness? How intimate can we be with that inside of us? Okay, that's a lot. Okay, if you guys want to join, I'm gonna shake it off a little bit. That was a whole lot. V, anything you'd like to add to this as far as how that plays in your system?
Um, just feeling the presence, but there was a thought saying you can't share the love with those people or people who lost their loved one. How will they share the love with that brings sadness.
Yeah.
And when you said let that part be blended with it, and I felt good about it.
Nice.
Let, let, let it, even if it's blended, it's okay.
Nice. Thank you. So this is what we play with in Effortless IFS, right? Sometimes I call them the three views. And to like almost intentionally blend with a part, let a part have us. That's the most advanced. That's the third view when our system can do that. But then often we learn like there's these practice like Advaita, the work of Byron Katie, all these different other ways of getting space from. In classic IFS, we get space from our parts. We get to step back into the sanctuary of beingness, of love. And isn't it nice to know that that's here for us because we don't want to go too far. We don't want to overwhelm our system. And so, can we all find that option when it becomes too loud, the sadness becomes too loud, a part becomes too loud? We can go to what I call the first view. I call it riding the bike of being. We can just return to the bike, the beingness, or we can just step back to sanctuary that's here. Like, how does your system do it? My friend Dave calls it like the headless way. He just steps back into this causeless okayness. Can we all find that as an option? Like in Milo, when he's a sense of, he was talking to me earlier, it was like going into the heart of darkness, which is just, it's like this hero's journey, like going into the sadness that V's speaking of, and like letting it have us, not in a dark way, but in a way of when we go deeply into this, what often happens is what Goli was pointing to, the love shines through, it comes through, but it's but often we can go to the first view and just step back. How are we doing? Who wants to share next? How's this playing in you? Rowena, yes, tell us.
So, yes, I resonate very much with, and first of all, my condolences to you, Sid. Um, yeah, I have an active part. I, I a while ago, a long time ago, I studied voice dialogue, and I resonate with IFS very much, and I've read books. I've never done any sort of formal IFS one-on-one or anything, and I also find that it can be quite difficult. The parts that I'm dealing with now seem to be very, very deep, and they don't have language, but I can glean a little bit out of them. I had also loss last year of my husband, who was ill. So that's been a year of different facets coming through of just a whole 40 years of marriage and different little memory vignettes of life together. And so it's been a big theme. And today, and also I've been spending a lot of time with my mom, who's 91, and she's still, independent, but she's definitely getting more frail. So, there's there's a little bit of a standing away. There's obviously an intellectual knowing, but for my system, it's like there's protection there for going to the reality. The reality will come when it will come. There's no need to push it. And so it's just, yes, this will happen, but I haven't a clue how it will be when the parts and everything moves in more and more in I guess I call it like an aware, loving presence. And I found that that's fundamental. That is my, it's like, it's my like deepest practice is that, if that is there, even if it's, if it's faint, it's like now the parts I can get as intimate as they will allow it. At the moment, there's something deep in, sort of in between my, just lower than my shoulder blade, sort of just above the sort of solar plexus, and it's like a knot which has softened, but sometimes it's like really strong, but it's about the loss of you not being able to play in the illusion anymore. And going today, I was having lunch with an old friend, but somehow, I could see how I could no longer play with her in some ways. I was terribly happy for her where she is in her happiness, but there was a sort of loss, like I can't go there with you anymore. That's not my journey. And so there was that a sort of a sweet, sort of bittersweet loss. And at the same time, there was sort of the peaceful holding of that. And so it is being having the two, really, as you said, can they both look out of your eyes? And I think that's where I am, what I'm coming with today.
Oh, wow. But for all of us, as Rowena took us on this dive through her system, what was that like for you? What was that like as we followed Rowena, as she described that there are parts inside of her that are buried deep, don't even have language, as she describes that? Could you go there with her? Was there a sense of knowing that what she was speaking of in your own system? Parts of us buried deeply. When she speaks of a year ago, she lost her husband of 40 years. What was it like hearing that evoke? And I do this because it's easier to go to these places when we're with Rowena's system than our own. And I'll bring this back to our own systems. But like as we hear that loss of her husband for 40 years, and she speaks of a memory vignette that flashes of their life, images of their life together. Were you like me? Like you wanted to see those images? Like you wanted to see those images? Like what, gosh, what were those images of this 40-year life with this of love with her partner? Then she speaks of in her system, the parts, everything's moving in a loving presence, an aware loving presence. When you when you hear Rowena speak of that, everything moves in an aware loving presence. What's that like for you? What do you imagine that is in her system? What's it like? What's the feel of that? An aware, loving presence. Everything is being held in that. And as part of this game that we play is getting the gifts of how beingness shows up in each other, feeling it as like a tuning fork to know it in our own system. What's that like in you? What's your version of that? And everything is moving in an aware, loving presence. What's your version of that? Can your parts feel this aware, loving presence? And then what about the parts that Rowena spoke about at the beginning, the ones that are buried, that don't even have a voice yet, we're not even so aware of? Can they feel? Can they also feel this aware, loving presence? Rowena spoke of her 91-year-old mom in the sense of there's an intellectual protection that comes that knows that, gosh, eventually my mother will pass. Do you have parts like that? Kind of an intellectual and understanding, something that makes sense of.
You park behind me.
Just one moment. You find a part that's a protector that kind of uses the mind to protect, to care for us. And can you absolutely love that part within you, like Rowena's that thinks about her mom passing? It's like, okay, we don't need to think about that so much or however it addresses it. You just love that. And then Rowena speaks about a knot that's just above her solar plexus, beneath her shoulders, a knot. What's your version of that? What's your version of, wow, this is so beautiful feeling this openness amongst everybody. And I got this contraction that's here. What's your version of it? Is it a no? Is it a resistance? Is it, I just don't want to feel this? What's your knot? And is it okay that Rowena has this knot above her solar plexus? When you hear her speak about it, you have a therapist part that comes, oh, we need to do something about that. But can you also find this, the okayness with it? And then lastly, Rowena speaks of there's something in her that couldn't meet her friend, that couldn't meet her and play in the world that her friend was in. Is that okay? And it's also strange because sometimes that's kind of that happens in, especially in this first view, when we step back to beingness, when we get distance from some of the parts, we step back and sometimes it's just bliss and oneness and unity or peace or this beautiful word, aware, loving presence. But then something that we play with in Effortless IFS in our group is once that's deeply known, it's like, I don't want to miss a minute of what V was describing of her experience of her parts. And gosh, I want to go deeper into everything Rowena said. I really would love to see those images and the fullness of what's there and the fullness of the knot. Something starts to open where the system can step back into the fullness of this in meeting this and the fullness of the aliveness I find, and I'm intrigued by that in my system, but other systems are all these different ways. But just to notice that in each of our systems, how does that play? Like, gosh, I love staying in this headless way. I love staying in the unity, the oneness. And then some of us, that's the leaning back. And some of us want to lean so forward and just like be on the playground, be in the dance of this. And then there's this in between. Like, how does that play for each of us? That's how I enjoyed what you shared, Rowena, and I'm curious just how each of us enjoyed it. And is there anything else you'd like to add, Rowena?
Oh, Sid, thank you. That was so beautiful. The way you shared how you heard what my parts and were saying, and no, I feel very complete and very heard. And yeah, I definitely have passed through the wanting to be back, and it's like I can get my whole body wet in the mud, and sometimes actually I also can share this that I live on my own in Belgium. That's a whole story. But I have one daughter who lives in the States in Connecticut, and I used to live in the States in Connecticut. And I have a mum who lives in the UK, and I have another daughter who lives in Germany, and I'm in Belgium somehow because it seems like a central point, and this is where I'd been looking after my husband. And so when I go to see family, and then it's like I have to use the word play. I'm playing that, and there's a morphing of the connection, and then there's a having to withdraw into like, oh, I'm on my own, and there's the sort of like all the parts that are still clinging to outside connection, and then realizing that the connection is because I'm not connected in the fullness and depth of my possibility of where I am in my own embodiment. And so it does come back to that, the embodiment of the aware presence and how that can just, we move in and out of that, and it's like, okay, bring it on.
Beautiful,
Yeah,
beautiful,
that's
beautiful. Wow. Just lastly, for all of us, like in my system, I feel such delight. This place of delight is touched as Rowena's sharing. Sense of delight. Like, what is it touching you? What about delight? or play. And she speaks of play. She just morphs when she's with her family in Connecticut. What about play? Is there space for that in your system? Perhaps as even a quality of self, this lightness of being, this play. Hmm. Thank you so much, Rowena. Before we go to the next person, we just heard this such exquisiteness from Rowena and V. Is there anything bubbling that would like to be shared in response to how that touched you or what's moving in you before we go and have another feature with who's next? Anything bubbling? There's so much, so much. Then, before we go to who's next, how are you doing? How are you? Notice your part. This is a lot. This is a lot we just had with V and Rowena. There's a lot here. Again, I have to shake off a little bit, shake a little bit, and then like, how are you? What are your parts? What are the voices that are there? What's the background? What's the beingness that here? Is it like Rowena's this aware, loving presence, or is it a different word? What's everything arising in? And maybe even that you feel in the space with the eight of us who are with you, the space. All right, I'm excited and curious. Who's gonna go next? Dave!
Um, I, Thank you for, sharing, talking about loss, your personal loss, and that is, that's a very strong kind of dominant part that can, that when it comes up, and it can really take over. um, and when my condolences, both of you, losing loved ones is not easy, and the it can be hard to feel that the kind of fundamental well-being, the calm, the inner calm, whatever word we use when we're caught up in the kind of the pain of loss. And I always find it's with losing a loved one, there's all these kind of personal ideas of how I think things should be, and and how they should, my dreams and expectations, they change, when we lose a loved one, and and that requires lots of adjustment, and it's those parts are big, and
So how's it play in you, Dave? How's it playing in you? How's it playing in you right now as you hear me share and V share and Rowena share of this sense of the loss? What do you have a part that like resists, a part that understands, a part that's like, no, I don't want to experience this again myself? What's it like? What's the theater like
all
there?
of that. Yeah, no, all of that. Yeah, for sure. It's when I was younger, I would hear of loss and I had no frame of reference really. And then as I got older and experienced loss, then I had a frame of reference. Not the same, but still a frame of reference. And those parts that come up with it, and and still, even in times of difficulty, it doesn't make the difficulties any easier. But there is a sense of inner calm. There's that sense of openness that never goes away, and it being able to just to rest in that, and to be able to see the kind of the two together, the parts and the inner calm.
Yeah. Wait, just let me pause for just a minute. As Dave's sharing, can we all find the gift of this? As he calls it, a frame of reference, a sense of understanding. Rowena spoke about it as an intellectual part as well, but an understanding, a contextualizing, like we're hearing, like how Dave's system makes sense of death, the sense of understanding, contextualizing. And he talks about it as when I was young, I didn't really have this, but now as older, there is a sense of context for it. And this is a part, right? Or parts that have a sense of understanding, make sense of, make meaning in. If we can find, like, what's your version of that? right? And it might be like, yes, what Dave's saying exactly, or it might be like, aha, I like that. But and then you might have a completely different understanding. But can you find the parts in you that make sense of this, that make sense of loss, and how that contextualizing, a little distance, intellectual distance sometimes can be helpful. Back to you, Dave.
Yeah, with loss, I found there was not a like a good selfish, not a bad selfish, but a kind of a selfish perspective of, not being ready to say goodbye and wanting more and that comes with that. And that can be a very strong, part that can really take over. And it's, I found for me in the past, I would try to avoid it. Now, when I'm facing difficulties, I try to accept it more,
Yeah.
as part of, you know, life, part of the human experience, and having that, you know, having inner calm or inner place, fundamental well-being, whatever word
Mhm.
works, just it can make it doesn't make it go away. It doesn't make it easier or less painful. But I found it gives another perspective. Looking. If I can
Beautiful.
step back and then just look and see.
So how about what Dave's saying? We can know this as a parts that are understanding, right? And can we also find the gift of this? I've been using this a lot as well. In the midst of, oh my gosh, it's getting overwhelming here. I can have a part that can help me. Like, whoa, Sid, it's okay. Let me tell you the bigger picture. It's gonna pass. This is part of life. This understanding as a part. Just notice how can you find help from it from each of us? The sense of these brilliant minds we have that Rowena's speaking of and Dave's speaking of that can help contextualize experience. And then there's also something that John and I play with. We have a word, they call it tree in this tradition we've been in, where there's just this, it's almost a quality of beingness, this clarity, this knowing. And that's what Dave's speaking of. I think we probably can hear some of that there too, right? It's just a knowing, a clarity. Can we find the gift of that inside of us? This that knows, this that has perspective and understanding, but it's kind of not, it's not relative. It's just this knowing, this intrinsic knowing. What's for all of us? What's our version of that? And Dave, kind of final words on any of this that you'd like to share?
I got nothing.
Mm,
Thank you for being open and sharing. It just makes it everything much more relevant.
thank you. Okay. How deeply can we receive Dave's facilitation in the intellectual, the understanding parts, the use of that, and also this clarity, finding it within us. Woo! All right. Woo! And so as we transition, let me just ask each of you again, how are you? How are you? It's like, whoa, this is a lot. So I wasn't, this isn't so fun today. This is painful. This hurts. Um, how are you? And then, and also, if there's a sense of there's something I need to do, or I need to go deeper into what Dave said. No, we're just being here together. It's like we're after school, outside playing. We're just being present. We just get to enjoy each other. And it's like we get to enjoy what comes next. Is anybody having difficulty? Anything bubbling that would like to be shared before we go to the next sharing? Everybody doing okay? Milo, just also know anything you'd like to share at any time, Milo, you're just so welcomed. Anything bubbling? Gosh, and then what's it like to feel this connectedness, this silence, this stillness together, this love, that you're not alone. We're in this space together, this shared beingness. Woo! Who's gonna go next? Haneen, Goalie, Sarah, John, Milo. Who would like to share? Milo, there's no need to share at all today. You are a special guest. Who would like to go next? A goalie!
Okay. Thank you everyone for sharing. Thank you, Sid. I can share my latest loss of a very dear loved one. It's not even a year. Mm, it was my mother-in-law, but we were very, very close. We were friends. She was like mom for me. We have been living together for a while. Yeah. So I was with her to the last breath, and she was um for a while she was unconscious for 2 or 3 days, and we could see her how it was leaving the body. She was leaving the body, and I could feel her presence more and more as the body became weaker and not functioning better. It was functioning worse. The presence was getting bigger and bigger. It was like a shrine over there. And then when she had the last breath, it was like something deep came to my heart. It was like I truly could feel the oneness. I became one with her. And I realized to um, really feel her presence in my heart, I have to let go of the image that I had from her, the form, the appearance, because her true self was becoming with one. With, I could feel that oneness, and acceptance was the best way I can put it in words. Just to let go of who she was as a form, as that dear friend of mine, and accept her presence in my heart. That's all I can say. Um, I before that I lost my sister, who was the dearest person I had in my whole world. Since I opened my eyes, she was 10 years bigger, older than me. She was always there. Her personality was a sun that just gives love, gives light without even thinking about it. She was all love. And when I lost her, I was sick for it. It's a long time ago, but I couldn't even live. Like it was living hard for me. But then, and it was with me, I was always grieving for her for years and years. But recently, like before my mother-in-law passed, mm, I I was meditating, and I was again grieving for her. But then I realized I even need to let go of grieving, let go of sadness for her loss. Even that is a kind of attachment for me that mm, that makes it harder. And when I did that, when I even let go of that sadness, then I became one with her too. So yeah, I mean, maybe it's easy to say in words, but it's yeah, to be able to really accept their leaving, and yeah, yeah, just acceptance, and let them go, let the form go, because we all our forms are coming to the existence, and we leave the existence. The actual essence of us always remains. So yeah, thank you.
That like that like for us. This is our response to Goli. She describes the process of her loss. Her mother-in-law, who was a mother figure for her, living with her, being there on the deathbed. and her sister, who was the sun, who was the sun of love and light. The sense of devastation that was felt in the loss and the grieving. How intimate are we with Goli as she describes all of this? What does it touch in us? Can we find this? Can we find everything she described? Can we find it in our own parts, in our own system? We've all had loss. And can we so relate to when she describes when her sister died and her sister passed? The grieving, the holding on. And when you, those, the parts of Goli that would hold on in this depth of love of her sister. Can we just welcome? It's just a welcoming and a love of those parts that said, no, this isn't okay. She's my sister, however that expressed in her parts. The grieving, the no, the holding on. Can we find absolute okayness with this is a big deal. Can we find absolute okayness with Goli's parts that said no, that missed her sister so much? Is it okay that they were there? And is it even okay if they're still there? The ones that say no. And can we find our version of that with loss that's happened in our lives, whatever the loss is like, if it's whatever the sense of no that our parts have or resistance? Can they be loved the way we can love Goli's parts? And then Goli speaks of an acceptance that came when her mother-in-law, her mother, passing and passed. Something, there was a grace. I just call it grace, this letting go, this acceptance. And in that grace, there's a sense of oneness with her mother. How can you track that in your system? And notice that there are any parts that say, oh, I should do that. I should be doing what Goli did. It's just a spiritual achiever part. It's just a part. Here we celebrate what is. We celebrate how life moves in your system. And if Goli was here talking about, the grieving of her mother-in-law, of her mother, that if there wasn't full acceptance, if parts were saying no, we would celebrate those just as much. There's nothing wrong here. We love what arises. So she describes the acceptance that came. And then she would describe the more lengthy version of that with her sister. And she says, eventually there was an acceptance that came. And in that there was that this essence that's always here. What's your version of that? How does that speak to you? Goli, what would you like to add to this?
Thank you. No.
Anything bubbling from any of us that would like to be shared in response to what was just shared? Anything bubbling? And lastly, where Goalie was taking us, I can even find some discomfort that comes up in my system. This is right, this intimacy that she's describing. And can we all take care of ourselves? It's like, okay, that was I can go 2/3 of the way with following Goalie, and then it just becomes a little too much. Can we love that? Can we love the way our system takes care of itself? Maybe an intellectual understanding part comes in. Maybe we step back into beingness. Maybe we start thinking about our day. I want to suggest just absolutely loving however we're taking care of ourselves in this, because this can be very uncomfortable. So as we continue playing our exploration and being together in the backyard, just asking, how are you? How's everybody doing? How are you? Can you find a welcoming of what's arising inside of you? Everything be welcomed here. And when it becomes too much, the part that says it's a little too much, can that be welcomed too? That I'm gonna take a little break. I'll go get a cup of coffee, or I'm gonna whatever needs to be done. And then who wants to go next?
I I need to say I loved being here and I actually have to hop off at the hour. I got to
Oh,
by without sharing, but I really loved getting to explore with all of your shares and be with my sense of loss. So
John, I'm so grateful you got to be here and part of this today with us, and the gift of you. Such Thanks for being here, my friend. And sorry, I forgot to mention the 1 hour mark. That's my error. Thank you.
thanks, Sid. And yeah, I've got you in my heart. I hope, yeah. So,
Thank you, brother.
everyone.
And if anybody else, we pause at the hour for anyone that wants to transition into their lives. If not, we'll go for another 27 minutes together. Dave, yeah.
Um, my world is coming in, asking for my attention. I'm at work right now. So I just want to thank everybody for being open and sharing. It makes it also worthwhile. And thank you, Sid, for facilitating. Um, it really brings a lot to all of us. And and yeah, all right. I wish you all the best. Have a nice day.
No. Thank you, Dave. Who's gonna share next? Get Sarah and Haneen, and Milo's always welcome, but he's probably going to be listening today. Who wants to go next? Haneen!
Hi everyone. I don't know if I have anything to say, Sid. There's just so much going on, and it's beautiful to just observe, to sit with it, to feel the sensations, hear the beautiful words, the voices, the faces, the emotions, all of it just being here right now. It's plus um the own experiences of loss and the many different levels of it. And I don't even know. I mean, I'm speaking already, but I don't really know where to dive in. I wouldn't, it's just all there and it's just beautiful. And I'm just very touched by by the love of connections, of relations, of the translations that we have made here that allow us to just feel so much love in our embodiment of
Pause for just a moment, just as we're hearing Haneen. You might have, you might be hearing the words and following them as she describes her experience and the sensations. And this is just, we don't want to miss a minute of that, the words. But then, what about the beingness? How's that? What are you feeling? What do you get? Is the gift as we play with opening up to this being, these different flavors of it, loving, aware presence that Rowena spoke of. What do we feel? What's Haneen offering us in her beingness? In her words, can you feel that's this both, this simultaneous awareness of the thoughts that are there, but also this beingness. And for some of us, there's even a feel of even more transparency of form. The relationship as we're with Rowena between the form and formlessness. Or when we're with Haneen here, with form and formlessness. The shining, the light of being, this that Goli spoke of in her sister, the sun, this light. How are we experiencing Haneen? What's the gift and what does it touch in us and what does it open in us? Back to you, Haneen.
no, they're just tears flowing. It's just whew. Just waves of all of that that's here, and it's beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you, Haneen. What was your experience, everyone? So as she describes the waves, as she describes the waves, could you sense, like in my system, you could feel there's such an intimacy with the waves. Describes the beauty of what is, the intimacy of what's arising, the intimacy with her parts. How does that play in your system? The intimacy with the thoughts. How intimate can we be with what's arising in us? And what's the difference when we're intimate with it, or we're blended with it, or we're aware of it? Wow. Anything bubbling before we get to go to Sarah? Anything bubbling? Anything wants to be shared? Hmm. And how is everybody? How is everybody? How are you? Just notice what's coming up. Like, oh gosh, that we've been on for an hour and 10 minutes. I'm kind of exhausted. Notice what's here. Notice what parts come. Is it okay that those parts are here? It's everything welcome. And how intimate are we with the parts that are rising? Just as in need, intimate with the waves. How intimate are we with those parts? And if there's exhaustion here, is there okayness with that exhaustion, with that tiredness? Can we even step into it? What's it like to be that? And as we're being it, Can we find beings, their self there, light shining through? And here's the fun. Sarah has such an intimacy with her. Again, she and I played. She can like name 70 parts. She knows her system so well, and she's got labels for it. It's like we're going into the movie, Inside Out movie in Sarah's system. Are you ready? Maybe they'll be to see what's to come. Sarah, how are you? We got bless fun day. I almost didn't get to hear from you at all. It was like I was so sad we didn't get much Sarah. Give us some Sarah.
Hi everyone, and thank you, Sid. Thank you for being here and for sharing this with all of us. There's a part in me that really appreciates the brave part in you that can be present in grief and share it with everyone and just be vulnerable and just be strong in all of it. It's really beautiful. And yeah, it's also grateful for everyone that was able to share their grief today and to share their stories about the people they lost, the loved ones they lost. It's just it's so beautiful, it's so human. I'm so sorry for everyone's loss. And I have a part that is not good at processing grief. It's a very strong protector that does not process grief. It pretends it does not exist or that loss is not real. So this part came up a lot today, and I found it very difficult to think about loved ones that I lost and to relate to other people's losses. It brought up a lot in me. So it was very triggering for my system. I have a sad part that came up, and this part it's really sad. It bursts into tears. It can't form sentences when it cries. So that part really wanted to come out, and I have a protector part that doesn't allow that part to come up. I can sense it in my throat. I choke up. I lose words. I can't speak. I can't say anything. Sometimes tears freeze in my eyes, or if tears flow, I wipe them very quickly, as if not expressing any sadness. If I don't express it, it's not real. If it's not real, then no one's really lost. So this is the logic of this part, this protector part. And it felt good to sit with it, to listen to its reason, to how it feels about grief. And it's so interesting. This part came up for me a few days ago in dreams, and it was very symbolic. I had a dream about a garden, subconscious garden, and this part came as a hippo. It was a hippo buried in the garden. I had to dig it out, and I was happy to find it. And I had to dig into the symbolism behind it, and it turned out to be the grief, the emotions, a fierce feminine presence, just so full of feelings and grief and protectiveness. So I realized, oh, it's that protector part, the one that doesn't want to process grief. And it really shook up my system to deal with this part.
About that for starters, everyone. Just pause a minute. What's it like being with all of that? How does your system meet Sarah's? This the compassion, the love that's here. For her sad part, I feel all of this. And for her protector part, it says, no. Those if you can find the same love for both of those parts in Sarah, the same acceptance, the same appreciation. That just wants to let the tears out, wants to feel it. And then the protector part, like, nah, don't you get it? If we don't feel this, it's not going to happen. If we don't cry, we can protect from this. It's not real. Can you just adore that part as a superhero in her system? The one that says no. See if you can. Just as much compassion that you have for the one that feels the loss, that cries, the sadness. Can we have an equal compassion and love for the one that says, no, no way? This hippo, this protector. I'm not going there. I'm not going to do that. Crazy. See if you can find that in Sarah's. This equal love for those two. Because this is when it starts to really suck, is when then we bring it to our own systems. And we find those one that just wants to feel all of this, let it out. Gosh, I can't, feel the loss, the sadness in us. And then the one that's like, oh, wait, we got to do this measured, or we don't want to do this at all. If we really do that, it's going to kill us. If we really feel all of that, it's too much. See if we can love that polarity, love both of them equally, and see both of them as heroes in our system. And then when we hear Sarah say her parts were really triggered by this, parts really triggered by what we've done today, can you just adore those parts and be the space of love and welcoming and care for them, these precious aspects of Sarah? It's like, I really don't like this. I really don't like this at all. I don't want to go there. And then in your own system, the parts that like, gosh, this hurts. I feel really sad. Can those be welcomed and loved? And again, if you're having difficulty, you've got 6 of us here with you, loving and welcoming the parts. You can feel the presence here, the love that's here. Tell us more, Sarah. How you doing?
There was a part that came up with Ruina's share, the fear of losing a loved one in future. So yeah, that part has a fear of loss, of abandonment. Yeah, this part feels abandoned when it loses someone. So this fear of loss came up, and there was a nurturer part, comforter that was there for this part, making sure it feels okay, held, comforted.
I'll ring in on this one. This fear of loss and fear of abandonment. I know that part so well, as kind of was with Dad as he was declining, and when hospice told us that he would likely pass within a week. The parts, they were about me. Like this, the fear of abandonment, fear of loss. Like it was so strong here. I don't want him to go. I just love those voices inside of me because there's so much love there. I don't want, I don't want my dad to go. And as Sarah speaking of those parts that think about someone passing, and the parts they're like, no, no, I don't want the loss, the abandonment. Can we just adore those parts in Sarah? Adore them. And there's nothing wrong. There's just wrongness. We can't find any wrongness in them. We just adore the innocence of these parts. Tell us more, Sarah.
And there's a very tricky part to deal with, the one that just checks out and dissociates when it experiences loss. It just can't deal with loss. Um, it's a firefighter that is just ready for loss. Like, if loss comes, I'm not dealing with it. We're not dealing with it. We're just going to check out, and we're not going to be present with it. Yeah, so this one came up with the fear of loss and abandonment. And it kind of comforts the system to know that, oh, if loss happens, if it's too much, I'm just not going to be here. I'm just going to dissociate. So I appreciate that part for comforting the system in this way. It used to bother me so much that, oh, I can't check out. I have to be present. I guess that was the part that was not okay with this part, with the dissociation. It just needed to be here to feel everything, even if it's sad or too much.
We all can relate to this, yes? Can we all find a part that checks out? And can we all find gratitude that we have that part? Oh gosh, I'm so grateful I have that part. Can we all find that when it becomes too much, or it's like, whoa, need time for a break? Check out, check out. Me, it's pizza and Netflix. I've gone for 2 hours, and I'm so glad I always know that's there to check out. And then we might have it. And can we all relate to this other part that Sarah mentions? No, you shouldn't check out. You should stay present. This is a problem. You shouldn't even use the word disassociate. But I don't like that word disassociate because it has these negative connotations. I would suggest this check out is really a wonderful thing. And it's one of our superheroes. I'm imagining a cape behind that part that Sarah, the checkout part. Cape, I'm coming to the rescue. We get to go away for a couple hours, for a day, whatever's needed. Can we find that in our own systems and just loving that? Sarah, final words, and then we'll open it up for the last 5 minutes to the group.
Thank you so much, Sid, for letting me share and for letting me be here in grief, where I rarely sit with grief. So it feels really uncomfortable, but in a good way, to be able to sit with grief. Thank you.
Comfortable, but in a good way. And that's like the equally welcome, uncomfortable, but in a bad way. Like, I've had enough of this. It's time for my checkout part. Wow, we really have to stay on for another 4.5 minutes. Some of you might be like, I'm really ready for a break. And I just want to love that just equally. How are we doing? We've got 4.5 minutes. Let's go around real quick to everybody and just see what's here and how it's going. V, how's it? I will go V, Goli, Rowena, and Haneen. V, how you doing?
Thank you. Just feeling so much gratitude where I'm able to process my own grief. And the other day, there was part that avoided because there's a fear of loss. My father's aging too. And then there's part disappointed. Why didn't you join Sid's class yesterday? Um, I'm grateful, my brave part, to be here in part of your grief and also other people who've lost their loved ones. I felt such a spaciousness today. The fear of loss was coming up so much for me from another person's loss yesterday, but I felt pure spaciousness for that family. I don't even know. I was able to hold that. I had that capacity to hold that. Thank you
Beautiful.
so much, everyone.
And thank you, V. You started us off here today. You started us off in the dive, and just for all of us as we go around, how this was so co-created today by all of us. If one of us hadn't shared, we would be all less today. Thank you, V. Oh, and from Milo, if you can see that, thank you, everyone. Goalie, let's go. We'll go Goalie, Rowena, Haneen. Goalie.
Thank you so much, Sid, for providing this open space for all of us. And I felt so much love. I mean, losing loved ones, it just brings up so much love. I mean, it's just love. And it's always hard to let them go. But they're always with us. That's my feeling. I really, really feel that all of my loved ones, they're all in my heart with me, like always. Yeah, thank you, Sid. And thank you, everyone, for sharing.
Thank you, Goalie. Thank you for where you took us into the depths of this. Your two losses as you facilitated us. Thank you. Oh, Rowena, how are you doing?
Oh, Sid, thank you so much. And everybody, thank you so much. There was so much resonance with all the parts. Every single person talking about their parts is like, yes, yeah, we're here. It's beautiful. And I'm so grateful that I could join you. Thank you very much.
And thank you again for you. You had like V handed it off to you as you took us in, telling us about your husband's loss, the loss of your husband. Thank you, Rowena. Letting us dive into the depth of this today. And Haneen for our finale.
Thank you. It was beautiful. And Sarah, that was absolutely beautiful and on point. I could find so many parts in me that, especially the one that can't form sentences. And that's exactly how I feel as well. It's like it feels just quiet and it can't speak and it just wants to be here and just observe and dissociate or go away or do something else and be grateful for it. And just everyone, it was just beautifully authentic and real, and I loved it. And Milo, I feel your presence. It's so nice to have. Thank you.
Beautifully authentic and real. Such a privilege to explore together today. Hope to see everybody again soon. Thank you. Thank you so much for the gifts, the gift of you. Thank you. Bye, everybody.